Hey, and welcome back to Beer Babies. My name's Will, and I'm your host today. And joining me back on the podcast, I've got my two favourite boys. I got Billy.
Hey guys, I'm Billy. I like a lot of beer.
And I got Declan.
Hey, it's Declan. I don't like beer.
And I like some beers. And joining me today is someone who likes all beers, and that's Mark. Mark, how's it going?
Excellent, guys. Great to be here.
So, what we're doing as part of Communion Brewing from Burnie, opening up hopefully in October in this month. So what I've planned out for us is a little sort of mini series where we try all their beers and review them for you guys on the podcast. And it's called my Good Things Shared series.
I'm up for that.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I'm glad, Billy, because
That's nice, Billy.
I'm not. I'm out of.
No.
I've checked out.
Thanks for popping in, Declan.
Surprise, Declan. There's beer involved again.
So a big thing that Andrew really got through from the interview when we talked to him, and if you haven't watched that yet, go back because it was such a great episode. It was so fun talking to him. Is he's really sort of about it's about community. It's about people coming together, and that's where communion comes from. It's like he says, good things shared. So that's why we've got Mark here, because we're going to share some of the beers that were extremely kindly gifted to us by Andrew. And so what we've got today is we've got his Dusty Wanderer, which is the XPA. Bill, do you want to hold that one up? Because my camera won't focus.
I'll hold it. I got you, Kaz.
The other beer we've got is the Clock Watcher, which is his...
Psych, that was the old one. That's the Clock Watch.
Yeah, so that it's not in shop, but that's fine.
Well, I'm pointing it at the camera.
Pointing at the... Yeah, perfect.
Cameras, like phones have like 4 cameras these days, alright? Get off my back.
Remember, Will, he does try hard.
Yeah, he really does. And that so the Clock Watcher, which is the Session IPA, and we're going to review both of those on the pod today. But one thing that I was really like hung up on and trying to figure out is you've got your pale ales, you've got your IPAs, you've got your XPAs. It's like, what does all this mean?
What do they mean?
I've been thinking about it for weeks.
Thanks for asking, Dick. I've actually found a really interesting article by this little blogger that I doubt you've heard of him. He's pretty like indie. It's a guy called Dan Murphy's. And he's I
was wondering where you're going with this. I'm like, I can't believe you just called someone little. Like, he could be like the biggest blogger in beer because...
You brought up another website one time. I was like, oh, this is where he's going. But no, left field.
This was a really good article. And I'm basically I've picked the bits that were interesting, but I'm basically going to read it out verbatim. While
you read, can we drink some beer?
Can you guys start pouring this out?
To be honest with you guys, looking at the size of it, we'd probably go for a walk and come back.
He's got a lot to read.
Yeah, while you guys are getting that sorted, I'll go on with this. So, it starts with that Indian pale ales are the darling of the craft beer world. Every mustachioed hipster from Brooklyn to Brunswick waxes lyrical while whacking their mic about these hoppy beauties, and given half the chance, they'll no doubtably explain the origins of IPAs to you. It's said that the extra hops were added to the barrels to prolong the life of the beer on the long sea journey to places like India or Australia. But that's not necessarily where the term Indian Pale Ale comes from. All styles of beer were exported to India from Britain in the early 18th century, but pale ales became particularly popular, and at some point they were marketed as being purely for export to India, hence Indian Pale Ale. So, anyway, origins aside, IPA's rise to the top of the craft beer world can be attributed to the American craft breweries, particularly those on the West Coast, who really brought the style back into fashion. Modern IPAs are known for being super hoppy, which gives the beer higher levels of bitterness and a really floral and fruity flavour, as well as scent. If you've heard someone say there's a lot going on, which I think we're all definitely guilty of, in reference to a beer, odds are it was an IPA of some description.
Do we need an intermission here?
No, well, you guys can have a drink. You guys have a taste.
Oh, we're allowed to drink.
Yeah, go for it. You guys, yeah, you guys have a drink. Try to maybe drink one of them. So maybe if you all drink the session IPA,
Which one? Oh, yep, gotcha.
the session IPA. So that way, we'll do that one first. And I'll jump back in a second. To make things more confusing, boys, there are quite a few different types of IPAs, including English, West Coast, East Coast versions, each of which use different hops. And then they go on to say a bunch of the different hops, which I'm going to skip over. And then there's stuff like double and triple IPAs as well, which are essentially a response to people demanding more hops, more bitterness, and higher alcohol percentages.
But like the whole point of the Indian Pale Ale is to put more hops in. Now people just want and want and want these days. I'm getting sick of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, basically just hops with a bit of water now.
So there's also stuff like session IPAs, which is what we've got here, which is a trend where they actually lower the alcohol content a little bit and take some of that punch away. Now, before I go in to talk about XPAs, what do you guys think of the Communion Session IPA?
I like it.
Who wants to go first? Mark, you go.
It's a very it stops abruptly on the palate. It's a sharp finish.
Okay.
It doesn't linger, which is good for a session ale.
Yeah.
It doesn't hang around. It's not an XPA, sort of you can taste it a day after you finish drinking it. I quite like it. It's fresh.
What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, like it's got like this really, like the flavor just stops. Like, no, I'm not going to copy what Mark just said, but it sounded really good. I ditto. It hasn't got much. It's like to go on that easy drinking as well. It's kind of like a low fizz carbonation as well, which is like perfect for just knocking it back.
Yeah, I think that's it's interesting because I messaged Andrew because I wanted to sort of check because from my research it was saying that IPAs
Research from Googling.
from IPAs are actually
Go out in the field anymore, Mark. It's COVID time.
exactly. We're very COVID safe.
But he still wears his fedora and wears his whip while Googling.
Da-da-da.
And he's got Indiana going in the background, Indiana Jones.
So I got in touch to sort of get to the bottom of like session IPA because like the IPAs like I've been saying are normally like the stronger flavors. So what Andrew actually said was that he's made it less alcoholic and less bitter, but still hoppy, which is what makes it a session IPA. And I just wanted to add before we go on, maybe save a touch for when we do our reviews at the end.
Well, Declan's going to have heaps left.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, what he's got... Have you drunk all yours, Deck?
Yes.
He loves it. I've really liked that. I think it's quick, like Mark was saying. It's got a nice flavor, but I feel like I don't have the right words for it. It's short. Like it doesn't hang around.
And it doesn't punch you too much.
It's the opposite of Declan. It's short.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also the opposite of Declan. It's not like banging about and making a ruckus. It's just in and out and gone.
Headbutting the
I'm
microphone.
a bull in a china store right now.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I've really liked it, and I think I'll keep going, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later. Mr. Daniel Murphy goes on to say, but what makes a pale ale so extra? XPAs are developing as a style, and that was like not just on this page, but a lot of places. Well, most of the blogs were from like 2015, but XPA isn't actually a recognized style of beer. It's sort of like this growing, changing thing, which they talk about a bit more here. A good starting point is that it's hoppier than an American pale ale, without reaching the overly hoppiness of the IPAs. It appeals to both fans of IPAs and those that prefer like your lighter pale ales. The XPA is like the Goldilocks. It sort of sits in the middle, and it's because it sort of sits in that middle of the spectrum. I think because often when I think of an XPA, I think like, oh wow, that's really strong.
Yeah.
But that's and I think it's something that I have definitely made the mistake of thinking a pale ale is the same as an IPA, when actually a pale ale is the bottom end of the spectrum and an IPA is the top, and sort of the XPAs sort of float around in the middle.
Which is good because, like you said, we were talking about this on the phone just the other day. It doesn't make sense. You think of extra IPA, like, oh, extra, it's got all this more flavour. No, it's extra pale. So, it's extra pale.
Thanks for
This
letting
is
me
like,
in that conversation.
It's English lesson.
It's like an episode of Open University for craft brewers.
It really is. So I hope you're getting a lot out of this. So the drinking public has found that XPAs, they're loving it, essentially, because the Bolter XPA has took out the first prize in the Gab's Hottest 100 Craft Beers countdown of 2017 and 2018, and then in 2019 it came in second. I think Ben Spoke ended up winning with an IPA. So what does the extra actually refer to, boys? That's what we came here. That's what we wanted to know. So it could be the higher alcohol content, more hops, or extra color, or possibly all three. The thing is with XPAs, because there's no clear sort of there's no clear parameters, and that's something else a lot of these places were talking about. Like with your whiskies, you have to make it a certain way for it to be whiskey, or to be champagne, it has to be from Champagne. Whereas with beer, the rules are a lot more fluid.
Unless you want to make like a traditional German beer.
Yeah, well, that's it. But like with your XPAs, it's sort of very open to interpretation, and I think that's why there's such a broad like flavor mix. I think because recently I've been getting on the Bolter XPAs, and I feel like that is quite a strong flavor. Whereas with this one, I don't know if you guys had a taste yet, but this I'm thinking is sort of like a.
Can we taste the other one?
Yeah, go for it. I think this is like a more mild, but definitely stronger flavor than the Clockwatcher, than the Session IPA. This one definitely, it does hang around a bit, but I really like this.
So this is more strong than that one.
This is because this isn't a.
That's a sessional one.
Yeah, so this isn't a traditional IPA. This is a Session IPA.
Definitely a lot more bite in the second one. What's the second one? Clockwatcher? Or...
Yeah, Clockwatcher.
One is called the Dusty Wanderer.
Oh no, so the first one's a Clockwatcher.
Yes, we agree.
Dusty Wanderer packs a lot more punch.
And that's the extra pale ale. And I suppose like that's what Andrew was saying. He took some of that bitterness out of the Clockwatcher to make it more drinkable. Whereas this, I feel like this one. So the Clockwatcher, I feel like you could drink 6. This one you could drink 6, but by the end you'd know you've had 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. What kind of market do you think this is for? You got sessionable, right? So you got like the session. Is it for just actually having a lot of this particular beer, having a session?
Well, I guess it's probably. I feel like your Session IPA is that one there. The Clockwatcher is something that I'd give to someone who's maybe new to craft beer, somebody who's been drinking
Like me.
Yeah, somebody who's just been drinking their stock standard sort of big brewery beers, and you want to ease them in. Whereas, because I feel like if you gave them the Dusty Wanderer, they'd be like, nah,
Too much on the palate.
there's too much going on. Because like I haven't had a sip for a while, and I'm still getting like those fruity hits,
Absolutely.
which I'm really enjoying. And I think
I reckon the Dusty Wanderer is a sort of drink you'd need after developing your thesis on craft beer, which you've shared with us, Will. Yeah, which is outstanding.
I thought you were about to say it's kind of beer you need after going for a real dusty wander. Like I didn't think it was going to be educational at all. What you said, I thought.
Yes, I wasn't expecting to have this experience tonight.
What's the other one? You drink this one when you're watching the clock, when you want to knock off and go have a session.
exactly because I feel like the Clockwatcher, I feel like I relate to a lot because a lot of the time I'll go out for a beer, but I'm not there for a long time. Whereas I feel like I can knock a few of these back, keep an eye on the clock. I'm out of here, boys, and I've had a few. Whereas the Dusty Wanderer, I feel like I'd be sitting in with this one. I feel like this is the sort of one you pick up a 4-pack, and you kick back and enjoy it.
In for the long haul.
See, I think that's why these beer companies that do all these different kind of variants of beer, because I'm the complete opposite. If I know I'm not going to be there for very long, I would probably grab a more flavorful beer and kind of not chug it. I probably would chug it.
He'll chug it.
I would chug it. But I would sit there, I'd enjoy it, not knowing I'm not going to have a big session of it, and that'll be enough. My palate has been it's cooked. By that point, it's cooked if I've had a few of these, and I go home. So I'm the complete opposite. So I would be choosing a different beer in that situation.
So you're leaning more, but I think that's what I'm really liking about this so far is I really like both these beers, and I feel like I would drink. I feel like, to be honest, I would drink the Clock Tower out at the pub.
Clock watcher.
Yeah. So yes,
The Clock Tower.
I drink the Clock Watcher in my tower. No, I drink the Clock Watcher at home, whereas I would go for the Dusty. Oh, no, I've said it the wrong way around. Sorry.
You have, because you're on my side now.
Sorry, no. I'd have the Clock Watcher out, so I could have a few drinks of these. Whereas the Dusty Wanderer, I think, is more, I'm kicking back at home.
Man, wherever you go, you're going to get cut off. Yeah, you're all over the show.
They're not letting me have any more.
I know you had a lot of words you had to get out today.
I know. I've
cut you some slack.
Used them all up. So why don't I throw to our resident wordsmith, Declan, what do you think of these beers?
They're both pretty good. I can't remember which one I had when I was down actually at the place. I think it was...
Yeah, you had a Clock Watcher while we were down.
And I enjoyed it. I liked it. But yeah, they're both very good beers. That's all I got to say. And I can't remember a lot of what we said. I sort of just blanked.
Thanks.
Neither, but I'll watch the episode later, and then I'll absorb.
Yes, I'll go the same. I imagine our viewers across the planet will be the same as well. They'll just skip over what Will said.
Well, anyway, that's been great. Mark, what did you think of the beers? Seeing as you...
The beers, very impressed, particularly the orange clockwork orange, whatever it is, that happens to have orange on the can.
There's probably some...
There might be a connection. Yeah, look, honestly, I was very impressed with that. I was expecting, a typical sort of session beer. To me, and I hope I don't offend anyone, a Communion, it almost had a Japanese feel to it, almost a dry sort of feel to it, because it stopped so fast, and that would certainly attract me to it because it's different. The Happy Wanderer or whatever it's called.
Dusty Wanderer.
Yep, beautiful beer. Nothing wrong with it at all. But between the two, if I was forced to make a decision, I'd go back to the Clock Tower.
Clock Watcher.
Back to the Clock Tower to drink some Clock Watcher.
Back to the Clockwork Orange.
So Billy, I don't think we got an actual final word from you on the beers. What did you want to?
Yeah, am I comparing the two, or am I going to rate the two?
You do whatever you tell. I want your general thoughts, and then we'll do our 6-pack test for both.
I'm going to drink this one at home when I'm playing some Xbox with the boys. Just a couple before
copying what I said.
And this is, if I have a big session with the boys on the Xbox, I play this because that's all we do. We stay at home and we play Xbox.
Don't read that out again, okay?
Fast forward, it's December. Halo's just come out.
I'll give this one a 5 because again, it's so flavorful. I would be done at 5. I would be content. I would be done happily. This one I would probably drink 16.
16. Now we're talking. What about you, Mark? We'll swing back your way.
Yeah, the 6-pack test, I would definitely go probably 5 for the Clock Watcher, and the other one maybe 3.
So the XPA, the XPA, you give it. Yep. So Dec, before you give us your rating, in case this is somebody's first episode, you never know. How does the 6-pack test work?
So if you were given a 6-pack, it's how many would you drink out of that 6-pack?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So for you, Declan, for the Clock Watcher Session IPA, how many of those would you drink if you were given a 6-pack, Joe?
Maybe 2.
Okay. That's
two and a half.
Whoa, easy, Tiger.
Before when Will said, we better save some so we can have a sip before we do our last review, Declan, you had already finished yours. and no one else had.
All right, well, when I was down there, that's the one I tried, and I really enjoyed it. So
I
it was
think
really
you're
nice.
you're selling that beer short, Declan. For you to rate anything 2.5, in anyone else's language, it's 15 out of 6.
Exactly.
The beer babes at home know that a 2.5 from Declan is a gold medal in the Olympics.
When this gets out, the communion stock is going to jump through the roof.
This is a peek behind the curtains of the Beer Babies format, but I've brought myself a dessert drink tonight, so which is not a beer.
So, but Declan, now that we've just built Communion up, I would love to hear your opinion on the Dusty Wanderer, their XPA. What did you think of that?
Absolutely shit. Nah, it's actually no, it was good. I'd probably give it a 1.5. I'll give it a solid crack.
Yeah, I'm finding this quite hard to rate. Probably mostly because there's two. I feel like if I did them individually, it'd be easier because I don't like really putting them up against each other.
You don't have to. Plus, there's a soft spot because we went to see the owner of this one. There's a great pod review that we did. This is a plug for another episode, by the way. If you haven't seen that episode with Communion, go watch it.
Yeah. Billy, you're just copying everything I've said this episode. I've really enjoyed both of these. I think these are both really, really good beers, and it makes me super excited that this sort of stuff is coming out of Tasmania. And I think the Northwest is absolutely killing it on the craft beer scene. And it makes me like the Northwest a lot more. I think I would give both of these... Oh, it's hard. It's really hard.
Is he waiting for a drum roll or something?
I feel like I've used up all my words. So I'm just gonna go for a number. I would give both of these. Both of these are a 5.5 for me. These are both really, really good. These are super drinkable for me, and I think like both of them I would have a big session on. And I've really enjoyed this. It's been great getting my community together, which is, again, what Communion's all about, okay? It's good things shared, and that's what this special is. This is our good things shared special, and we've really enjoyed sharing it with you. If you've liked this, make sure you give us a like, subscribe, share it around, You've got two mates, make sure they listen to Beer Babies as well. And that's about it, so... Well, if you don't have two mates, my camera's just died, Declan. So
My best two mates are right here, but one of them's off camera right now.
There's only one ticket left. Who's the other mate?
Well played, Communion. Great products. Best of luck with your future, and hopefully you keep on churning out some great beer.
Bye for everyone. Ciao for now.
And you can find some videos and stuff, and yeah, Will's camera's down.